skipper's done it.
Beautiful chapter it is for the Bombers.
Hello Bomber fans, welcome to the Friday Footy panel, of course coming to you from the Colonial Brewing Company here in Port Melbourne. What's a very short week, Scotty. Feels like we're still reviewing the game against the Pies, and there's another game on Sunday. Huge game, 1:10 Etihad Stadium. Family fun day at Etihad, 1:10 as we say, against the Demons. It's a very short turnaround.
Short turnaround, but it's what I like in a sense, because what we've seen this week is it's been all about the footy and the games rather than the politics or the side issues that I think tend to creep up midweek when there's no footy to talk about. But we had the game on Monday night, which was fantastic. Then Tuesday, of course, reviewing that, and we're already looking forward, stepping aside from the Essendon game, but a really significant clash tonight, Bulldogs and Giants. So it's been all about the footy this week. And that's what we talk about on the Friday Footy panel, pure footy.
Absolutely. Now let's go back to Anzac Day, just to touch on a couple of points out of the game. Obviously, Joe Daniher's got a lot of publicity for his performance. Did we see, big stage, why Andy McGrath was the number one pick?
I think we did. Yeah, look, I think we did. I thought he was outstanding. And I think for those that perhaps haven't followed his junior career as much, which is most, that they were perhaps surprised that the number one pick comes in and plays back pocket. What we saw with him, though, was he was able to do that as a bottom-age player, but also spend significant time in the midfield. We saw last year with Darcy Parish, they had to get him out of the midfield because really contested ball player, he was going to get himself hurt, playing a lot of minutes. So they've been able to, in a sense, manage him better, and because he has those attributes that he can play small back, it's worked really well. He'll graduate to the midfield and be a bona fide star, no doubt about it. But what we're seeing, I would say if he stayed there for the next 2 or 3 years, you've got an all-Australian back pocket. Without question, I think he's that good in that position. But they'll lose him the back line. I thought what was most significant about the game from him was, in a game where I thought a lot of players fumbled with the conditions and so forth, he was as clean as it comes. His ball handling under pressure and under the conditions was first class.
Michael Hurley, definitely his best game of the year so far, but we saw the week before he struggled on Walker. Ambrose went back, did a pretty good job. Ambrose had the big job on Darcy Moore, did a good job again. His improvement as a footballer has been unbelievable. Yeah,
well, there's 2 talking points there, really, isn't it? Hurl's in the best game he's played on for solo, played on that smaller medium type, played very, very well. And also Paddy Ambrose, who was getting some really big jobs, kept Walker out of the game after he went on to him. And also we saw with his work on Darcy Moore at the weekend, he's very assured, isn't he, down back? And his one-on-one work, his competitive nature means that he's rarely beaten in a one-on-one contest, which was significant in that game because credit to Collingwood, although you won't read about it anywhere, but they did a lot of things right. I mean, they had 66 entries. They had opportunities. Their forwards were not able to convert, both in their marks inside 50 that didn't happen, and also poor goal kicking. But with that many opportunities, I thought the back line was very, very good.
Let's look ahead to Sunday. Of course, some changes this week, as we expected off the 5-day breaks. Looking at the side, Kelly, Francis and Leuenberg are all out rested. Bell Chambers, Gleeson and Howlett will definitely play. They're in the 18. Also added to the squad, McKenna, Langford and Stewart. Just looking at the Melbourne side, with Jesse Hogan out, and condolences to the Hogan family, of course, after the death of Tony Hogan, Jesse's father. What does that do for the planning of Essendon with a Hurley or an Ambrose that would have been set for that job on Jesse Hogan?
Shuffle. They'll shuffle the decks and they'll adjust accordingly, because I think Melbourne will still look to play a similar structure forward of the footy where they do have some height to represent and provide options to their midfield. So they'll do that. They'll shuffle, certainly. But they'll just freshen up the team. I mean, we saw last year, and I think we were unsure whether that was John's philosophy of throwing the team around a lot and resting players, or whether it was more a matter of circumstance with last year and the younger players. But we see he's still very keen to throw it around, mix it up, rest players, provide opportunities. I mean, Langford, I thought, was going okay when he went out of the team, but we saw probably more about a bigger plan, a 2-week plan rather than just Tuesday, as he's straight back in.
What about the ruck situation? We spoke on here before rounds 1 and 2. The Bombers didn't really have a recognised ruckman. without Bell Chambers and Leuenberger. They won both games. Now we know this week there's no Gawn, there's no Spencer. So can Essendon get a significant advantage there, or sometimes is that a little bit overrated?
I think it can be both, Jules, and it depends on the circumstance and almost the result. I think it certainly hurt Melbourne. I mean, they lost him against Geelong Gawn. I think they win that game if he plays it out. I thought Freo Sandilands was significant. Gawn plays. I think that's a different result. And then it was the cumulative effect of not having a ruckman, but also being down on the bench last week that cost them against Richmond. And they got on top in clearances late through that. So I think it's significant because I've been really impressed, and we're resting Leuenberger this week. Yep. I think he's been very good this year. It's been really important. Great that they can give him that rest, and you've got Bell Chambers that can come in and continue that role. It is important. I think it's an area. Oliver is in exceptional form as a midfield. He's a gun. He's an absolute gun, no doubt. I mean, the raw numbers would say he's not far off the best clearance player in the comp, and he no doubt will be in 12 months, 2 years. So they've really got a limit, and that's despite lack of ruckman out there. They've really got to sit on him and watch him, because he can be the one player give first use of the ball despite not having a ruckman.
Yeah, two of the most exciting players that have burst onto the scene in the last 15, 18 months, Anthony McDonald, Tip and Woody, and Jaden Hunt from the Demons. Now that Waller's playing forward, could they play on each other?
What a matchup it would be. Yeah. Windburn you would get, wouldn't you? Burn marks on the grass. What you'll see is Hunt. His run and dash is so significant, and Melbourne are a team that like to move the ball quickly and get their game going, and he's the real centre point of that. And we see what Tipper has been able to do in his rundowns on the weekend. I mean, particularly that one late in the game and his tackle pressure. So they will have to put time into Hunt, the Bombers, because of that. And Tipper's an ideal player, and then potentially look to hurt the other way.
Now, Scotty, there's a man that's going to be very excited about playing this week. Hasn't played basically for 2 years, and that is Tommy Bell Chambers. He'll be our very special guest coming up on the Friday Footy panel.
Looking for some tall timber. Bell Chambers! There's a bit of a message for everyone saying, well...
Very excited. It's obviously a very exciting morning for me. Playing my first game this weekend for a couple of years, and to get back down here to the brewery, which is also very exciting.